So this is Baruch here, and because I forgot to record the early morning Shear, I'm recording it again now, and I hope it's not stale as I say it. This is a sefer. It's called Hakavanot, but really it's the Shaar but with a terrific, really terrific pirush by the Rosh Hashiva of the Yeshiva Shaar Shemayim in Eretz Yisrael. It just really, I'm just going to call it a tiv, and we're going to get into it right now. And see if I can find where we started. So, again, this is my second time through this today. Try to get it lined up so that it's a little bit better. And, still needs more lining up. There we go. So it says like this. We're going to start with, this is a light print reading. This is Nachta the Farish Minyan Hatevas V'Ha'osias Sheyesh B'Kaddish. Let's start talking about this. V'mo shechoya b'chem shnei pamim yud daled, echad min osias ve'echad min tevos. Kach yesh b'chem gam shnei pamim koach 28, echad min tevos ve'echad min osias. Now, if you haven't been following this up to now, this wouldn't make a lot of sense, because we're now in the end of this this particular piece on the KADDISH. And let's go on. Anyway, you wouldn't know what we're talking about, but the whole KADDISH is an exercise in two things he's saying. One is sweetening, and that's what you're talking about now. Sweetening the Elokims, which are dinim, making our consciousness such that we can see God and how he's acting in our lives. So it's that Shnei Pamim, and we use this with numbers. It's really the magic number is 42, but 42 could be divided into 4 plus 10, plus, which is 14, plus 28, and then that makes the constant 14 and 28 makes the number 42, and number 42 is the magic number. So how this works in the Kaddish, like I say, if you haven't been following it, it won't make a lot of sense what we're saying here, but we're going on. So there's a combination of 42 letters, and you could do this either with the words, 42 words, or 42 letters. So he said, so let's say the Milui of Mili Asad. I think he may show it to us, I'm not sure. Which actually comes out to be 28 words. He said, what do you do with this? This is your kavana here. The kavan lacham take bechem as the mochin the katnas, the mochin the abba, shehim elokem. So I said, the koach osias sharam is the koach shechel havai is the milui the ma. The koach the havai the milui the ma. So let's take ma. Let's take, there's also this ma. We spell out ma. So ma is really spelled Yud Vav Daled K Aleph Vav Aleph Vav K Aleph. That's how it's spelled. This is immediately of the name Yud K Vav K. The Kavan Hamtek Amoch and the Kat is the B'tzad Ima. So the ma goes on the Ima side. It's interesting. Shehem Shem Shem Elokem. Harav the Eel. Okay. Kamosha Bira Harav the Eel. Like the Rav explained up above. As Hamtachas Shemus Elokim B'Shnei Pamim Yad. How do you sweet them? He explained this, how the Yud Dalet does a sweetening job on the Elokims. The Elokims are again dinim. Koach the same way. Hamtachas Shem Elokim B'Shnei Pamim Koach. We also could do that with 28, the two different letters and the words. We do a sweetening job over there on that Elokim. Became b'mab dema sharom be'osius, also the mab dema. So with the 42, there's a way with osius at the kabed laham take bechem as the mochin the katnas the b'tzad ima shehem shem elokem ubarbaim b'shnaim the sag, and we use sag, which is yud vav daled k yud vav aleph vav k yud is the gematria 63, which is the gematria of the word name Saba. The kabin the matak elokim the abba yachav the kabana, the sweeten the elokim of abba. B'mab the sag sharoma is b'mab the tevos. So the rab the sag, which is a remed, which is a b'mab the tevos. The kavin the matik mochin the katnas the abba. You have in mind to sweeten the mochin of the katnas the abba shem elokim, which are elokims. Hamikdash shechal the mochin the katna b'shnei koch b'shnei mav. So those amarchu lo kibel marav as shevis amochin the katnas mamtikin b'shem b'shnei koch b'shnei mav. So he doesn't really have an explanation of how that sweetening proposition works. He said, so he said that he actually got this from someone else who also heard it from the Rav, but he's heard it somewhere else. Those that are combined with the 28 and the 42, and he explains it like this: he said to Misha, and then he doesn't really remember it good. So he's Marchum is very particular. He doesn't mess around with it. Maybe it's like this, maybe it's not. He wants to be very careful that he says it exactly right. So he says, therefore, I want you to know from the begin with that it's not really clear that I got it exactly right. Because the person who told him this, it's more like a sketch of what is the right way of the right kavanah. But as to exactly what he's doing over there, he couldn't finish it out. So it goes according to what he thought that he remembered. So he says, the way this goes, and the way it started out is that there are 18 letters in the name Elokim. So he says, the Hakavanot b'KADDISH hu lahamtik as ayud ches osius sheyesh b'shem Elokim b'milui, which we have in the name Elokim, when it's spelled out. V'atan the Bavar Harav, so now the Rav is explaining as Hashmona Aser Osius Sheyesh B'Shem Elokim, the 12 letters that are associated with I spread it around the Shmona Aser, the 28 letters that are associated with the name Elokim. So he said, Chamisha Osius Peshuto, so you have the 5 letters of the Pashut. Elokim, the name Elokim is 5 letters. Yesh Chamisha Osius Peshuto Gazeh, there it is. V'shlosha aser the milui, so they actually, if you take the milui of Elokim, it comes out to be 13 letters. Of milui shem Elokim yesh bo yud gimel ozius gazeh aleph lamed fei, and etc. There's 13. Count them up. He says zak shenechem shmona aser ozius. They add them all together, you get 18. Hey ozius sheyesh be'Elokim b'pashut, and then the yud gimel ozius sheyesh be'Elokim b'miluyim. So Hapasha the Mala B'Yachzah, they take the two of them together. So you had the 5 and now you have 13. That makes 18 Yud Ches Osius. He said of a tam take as a Yud Ches Osius, and then what you do is you sweeten the 18 letters, the Pashut Umale, the Shem Elokim, you sweeten them up. Those were the Pashut, which is the basic Elokim, and the Male, the Shem Elokim, now you have 18. So what do you sweeten with? How you sweeten them? Be'eser b'shmona osius the Havaya the godless. So you take the 18, the 28 of the Havaya the godless. V'tam take ha'yud ches osius b'shem Elokim b'shem Elokim. So you take the yud ches and we're able to make of the pasha and the mali. B'Havaya the mochin the godless b'mali the mali shabo. Sheyesh bo koach osius, and then you take the mali, which is 28 letters. And you sweeten up the 18 with the 28. So he said, "V'afal pi," even though she'enim shavim b'minyan b'shavim, they don't have the same numbers. Wait a minute, he says this doesn't have the same numbers. Let me try that one more time. So he says, "Shahamali the shem b'vaya him koach osius actually come out to be 28 letters. V'pashut mali the shem Elokim hem biyachad yod ches. V'nimsa sheyesh b'chavayis esrei asari yaserib." So he says, therefore you have an extra 10. What are you going to do with it? Al chavayis. So you have 18 matching up, and so he's going with the idea of matching. So you have 28, trying to match up with 18. So there's 10 left over. So hakoach shel levayim mamtik as yud ches shel shem elokim. So that's what you got. That's the situation you have going on there. Hakoach shel levayim mamtik as yud ches shel elokim. The nimsa shnisha arod, and he's saying it again. Mikoach avaya. He wants you to know this. From the 28, they come from the pasha. It's the mali, the chavaya. Od eser osius shelo him tamtik as elokim. There's another left over that didn't do any sweetening at all. The Sarah osius and the Shaar of the 28 letters. Ana mitzarfim elam tocha becheshbon achar anoisif. I'm not sure what that last phrase meant. Let me see. Let me read this again. The Asara Osius Hanisharos, on the 10 letters that are left over, Mikoich Anu Mitzarfos, we're going to add to them El Tochos Becheshbon Ha'achar Hanoiset. There's going to be another Cheshbon. We're going to use that to sweeten up these as a sweetener for the Elokim too. So he said, but that's as far as he got. He said it's going to be used for something sweetening too, but he doesn't remember what it was. V'ish amar l'marchu she'ein zeicha lama mitztarfim eser osius hanisharis mekoich the. So he doesn't really remember how you put the 28 with the which is the vaya, which is the mali the vaya. He doesn't remember how that goes. Gam b'kaddish yesh mab. So he said, now we go this like this. So we can put together 42 words and 42 letters. There's also these mobs. Now we said before that mob is the power of moving upwards. Shehem keneged pashut umalid the Chavayim. Choya mamtik ha'arbayim v'shnayim shel Elokim. They were able to sweeten the 22 that go with Elokim. Gam b'mab shel Chavaya choya ha'kavana the hamtik ha'mab sheyesh b'shem Elokim. So there's a 42 over here in the name Elokim, and the 42 that we have in words or letters is to sweeten that up. So v'chagam zecha b'ein zeicha heiti, but he didn't remember it really well. He couldn't remember it exactly. V'gam eich hamab shel Chavaya mamtik as the mab shel shem Elokim. How is that possible? V'gam zecha b'ein zeicha, but this he doesn't remember it 100%. So he said, so this man that heard this from the Rav, he doesn't remember it 100%. So now the Maruch gets involved. He says, and this is his language. We should also remember this language. We should be zeicha to it. He says that it appears to be the impoverishment of my mind, my impoverished mind. It appears to my impoverished mind, I guess the best English. The Maruch it seems to my impoverished mind. The Hakavanot is like this. So there's two different ways you could come and sweeten these up. That is the 42 of letters and words with the concept of 42, which I'm not really sure, which has to do, he wants to say, that has to do with the Elokim. The Elokim would be a 542 also. Or if he says like this, Kihine b'shem Elokim macharayim shalo. So you take the acharayim, which is called the revuah. Yesh b'chem arbaim ve'echad oisius. It actually comes out to be 41 letters. You have to take the acharayim of the milui. Let me say, Kihine b'shem Elokim acharayim shalo, from its acharayim. Yesh b'chem arbaim ve'echad. How does that work? So Shem Elokim b'miluim, but it has to be in a milui. Ba b'yachad and ba'ach b'yachad b'milui. So you take the milui and the acharayim of the milui. Yesh bo mem aleph osius are going to be 41 letters there. I'm going to see it in a minute. V'lemem aleph hazuka kashemosifim od echad. So you add one more onto the shvela kola for a kola. You have 42 right there. Oz b'yachad him mem bet. That's 42. V'hei mamtikin al yedecha hamab shel chavaya shel pashut umali umali demali. B'zechov ofen, and he wants to show it to us. It is marhu maybe as hatzir. So he bringing this form right here, or this picture. How it is that in the name Elokim that comes in the Milui form, if you take the Milui and the Acharayim of the Milui, Mem Aleph Osius, and you could count them up here. It goes like this. You take the first letter of Elokim, it's Aleph Lamed Fei. Then you make a milui with the rest of it. You make a ravua with the rest of it, aleph lamed fei. Then the next letter, lamed mem daled. The next letter, aleph lamed fei, lamed mem daled, hey aleph, etc. Until you get to the last one, which is aleph lamed fei, lamed mem daled, hey aleph yud vav daled mem mem. Count up the letters. B'shem Elokim b'milui b'ach b'tzir kazet yesh bo mem aleph osis b'yachad. You took them all together, you got 41. So you have 41 there. And that's a way to get Elokim to be sweetened. Over there, you're talking here about the Elokim. So let's see, B'yachad. He says, and you're supposed to be sweetening that with the 42 that comes from the Havaya. The Pashut, the Mali, and the Mali is 42. And here you have these Acharayim, it's going to sweeten like that. That's the idea. But it's not. This is not 100% finished ideas. He's say because this is what he thinks, but not sure. V'im od echad kola biyachad. That's you got your 42. So he said. So he says it's a little bit more. He says Ashin Samach Zayin. So he said the Elokim Hashem Hazem, who Mab Shel Shem Elokim. So so let's see, I could read a little bit of this. But he said, V'amnam b'nira dochek b'kam, so it seems like really he's really pushing it over here. The haklis b'chidas acharayim to Elokim, to bring the concept of an acharayim here. Now why is the problem? And you have to really, I really have to think about what he's saying here. Aval marchu dochek has devarav. He really says his words, really push him to the side. Shahamab the Vayus, because the Mab, which has come from the Pashut and the Mali, and the Mali of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. He says this is all panim. He said, "Whom Mab shall panim." It's the Mab that's coming from the face, so to speak. It's the ultimate. It's the light. It's pashtus of the light. Mab shall Elokim, to the Mab of Elokim, who. We're dog sitting. Mab shal Elokim hu mab shal ach. Wow, I must have done something bad. The mab shal Elokim hu mab shal ach is the mab of the Acharayim. So he's trying to see. He says, how do you get from the mab, which is a tremendously high light, shining onto the back? He says it doesn't. The backside, it doesn't really make any sense of the Elokim, but maybe it does. I don't know. Shal panim v'hamab shal Elokim hu mab shal ach. The Marchul Toim says the Marchul was claiming that that's the doichik. He said that this is something that I want to put on the side. I'm not sure. The tzaref kan Hakavanot as a shame ach shal Elokim. So how is it that you put together? This is what bothers him. The name ach shal Elokim. How do you put the panim together with the ach? This is one of the questions which we're going to go into tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem. Al Hakavanot shel Hamab shel KADDISH. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kol.